This is the Zone Football League.
Welcome back to another episode of the Zone In podcast, where we talk everything Zone Football League across Newcastle. As always, I'm Mason, and today joining me both sides, we have Wilso and CT. The band's back together, the rose between the thorns. How are we, guys?
Good, mate. It's great to be back with the three of us on board. CT's, beautiful. I'm looking for the same kind of curtains as CT.
Actually, now you mention it, I think you're going all right. Good to be back.
It is, it's good to be back. I'm, like I said last week, we're right into the pointy section of the season, so lots of excitement. The fun bit.
Definitely.
The crazy bit.
Crazy for sure, because once again, unfortunately, another wet weekend with games being called off. Only 6 first grade games getting played. And yeah, crazy is probably the right word to sum up this last couple of weeks of the season, as all games do still have to be played. There was a memo sent out last week from the association saying that we can't push the season back and extend it, but the final series has been rejigged, and that's given us an extra weekend on September 6th and 7th to play some make-up games. But still, there are some teams that still have 3 to 4 games to play over the next 2 weeks. So definitely a crazy end to this season. But we look at the games that did get on the weekend. Nothing played on the Saturday, but Sunday was the day for the games to be played. Nice weather all weekend. Sun was shining on Sunday. We'll first look at Zone 1 with a tough game between Katara South versus Mayfield United. 2-1 going the way of Katara in that one. Retaining their 4th place, still with 2 games in hand.
I think I picked that, didn't I?
I think you did, yeah.
Pretty sure I did. I know they're CT's little favourites,
Yeah.
Katara South, but that's a big result because Mayfield got them in the first round in one of the games we called, and that's like I said last week, there's a few teams that are looking over their shoulder at Katara South, and CT might be able to fill us in a bit more about what the ins and outs of what's going on there. But every time I've seen them, they've looked good. They had a good result midweek, and then this one, and they're still in 4th spot, but can they push for 3rd, or is it?
I think
because University's win, or
University, we'll touch on as well. Losing 3-5 to the Suns, so that definitely would bring that gap closer between Katara South and Uni. CT, have you been to any of the recent Katara games? Spoken to Willow, we know, mate of yours. Have you got any points on Katara here?
I haven't spoken to Willow recently, but what I would say, what I have noticed in their team lineups is there's been a bit of a rotation. So there's, the team hasn't been like, all right, that's it, and it's been locked in all year. It's been different depending on who's available and, just managing the players. So Willow's done that well, no doubt. And haven't spoken to him specifically about it, but it's pretty obvious that that's what he's done. And then other than that, just seeing the results coming forward. But I like the way that they've gone about their football, particularly, with their wide guys at the back, getting forward, getting into the game. The midfield is solid. They've got a number of really good players in there, and obviously they've got a gun up front that can score goals. So, look, no wonder they're in 4th spot. We sort of said at the beginning of the year they'd be there or thereabouts, and this is where they're at. So
I think they had to have a bit of a lull, and like most teams in this league haven't they? They've just been a bit up and down, other than obviously Croatia, and the Suns have been fairly consistent as well. But
for the first few weeks of the season, I'm fairly certain Katara were actually in first, knocking off those big players at the start. So to see them go from 1st to 4th isn't that huge of a drop, I wouldn't say, when you've obviously got the powerhouses in front of them of Croatia and the Suns. And then, as we touched on, the Suns Uni game, closing that gap for Katara on the University.
Oh, I think they'll slip into 3rd. That's my prediction. The game in hand, and they're rolling home pretty well, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember CT early on, you said they were well organised. I know the game called against Swansea, there was that was evident. Just the organisation. You can tell the coach was really implementing some stuff that they've worked on, in pre-season or wherever it was. You could see that they were organised. They knew their roles and they had depth. And that's what you were just talking about, the fact that they've been able to rotate players and leading into this heavy little area just before semis. I think that really will come into play because at this level, if you're playing loads of games and then you've got this big semi-final series, I don't know. I'm liking what I'm hearing about Qatar.
Yeah,
South.
it's good to take the momentum into the game. So you've had a couple of wins and you're really on a roll going to the semis, and then, as you say, other teams start looking over their shoulders, going, okay, well, what's Qatar doing now? There's a train coming, and how do we stop it?
Because I think we spoke about briefly last week. I was talking to Jake McGuinness, putting in petrol. I think he was filling his tank up. I might have been putting about 10 or 15 in mine. But
you're talking about the gas station, aren't you?
Yeah. He basically said, we don't want to catch Qatar. And they probably won't in the semis unless they meet him in the grand final. But I mean, I think that's a pretty big wrap.
Yeah, massive wrap. Yeah, from a team that is expected to win the comp. From what we saw at the beginning. I mean, don't write the Suns. The Suns. Do you think there's some talent in that team?
I think they're just going along with their business at the moment. The Suns are just, they know the premiership's gone, the minor premiership or the. But I think they've got their eye on the big one. I think they want to be there. There's some sad news about, I think, Kantarowski, done his knee again. I think that might be the third time for Alex, he's a huge loss. I was speaking to Gary Borradaile, the coach, Saturday night, and I don't think it's been completely confirmed, but I think he might be gone for the season, and hopefully it's not that serious for Alex. Probably at his age it might mean the end of his career as well, unfortunately.
Well, he could probably take a scanner and X-ray on himself because he works as a radiographer at the John Utter. But hopefully he's all okay because he is a genuine weapon in that team. He just goes about his business so quietly, but then when an impact need to be made, he'll either make a critical tackle or he'll slice something through for a game-changing moment. He's such a good player. Reads the game so well.
Gonzo had a few beers on Saturday night, so he could have easily got the wrong player. So,
But either way, Suns still in second, somewhere where they deserve to be, you would say. They also have 2 games in hand, so I don't think they'd be too worried about Uni or Qatar catching up to them yet. But when you look back at previous years, Suns are a big finals team. They love playing final series. They love getting into the grand final and winning it. So definitely, as you say, maybe the minor premier out of reach now with Croatia, but their sights will still be set on winning that grand final.
Oh, definitely. I think as soon as that was out of the equation, Gary would have started to get them into the zone, get them into the mode of grand final, knockout football, and he'll have them well ready.
What about this?
I think it's going to be a big one. The semi-final series is going to be a ripper.
Yeah.
Game 1, and all of the people, the crowd, the atmosphere, the smell of the, the food, whatever, like everything that added up to be, and Croatia comes out on top. In what was a thriller?
It was a great game.
You can't help but feel the Suns are like, now, right, we're going to zero in on our target, and that's their target.
And let's not forget they copped even though they had quite a few players out, and Gons gave me a message after we spoke about the 6-0 loss and just pointed out that they had about 4 or 5 out that day, but they'll be seething from that.
Yeah.
The club will be seething, the players will be seething. So I think if that matchup happens in the semi-finals, which is a fair chance it will, it's going to be on for young and old.
Yeah, and that's the game we're looking at now, because both of those teams, I mean, that'd be a cracking grand final, but both of those teams, coming in a semi is just like more fun for the fans because you're going to get 2 weeks of fun.
That's right. We're going to get value for money. But anyone in that top 5, or there's still a couple outside the 5 that are still vying, it's going to make for a really good grand final. Obviously that rivalry. There's some other rivalries inside it as well. So it's going to be like I said, it's going to be a massive semi-final series. It's one I'm really looking forward to.
definitely. And you said as well about some of those teams just in and around that 5. You've still got Cardiff, Olympic. Who else am I thinking of? Mayfield as well in 7th. All those teams still are good enough to make finals, and would still be obviously eyeing off those final spots. So still that bottom end of that final series. And who's to say that week 1 of the finals there's not an upset from a team fifth or fourth.
The hard part's getting in, especially into this, into ZFL 1. That's the hard part, getting in. I think once you're in, you can just go for it. Anything can happen. It's semi-final. Anyone can win or lose on their day in that division. And the longer Croatia go without, dropping a win, the closer they are to having a loss.
A couple of teams that you've mentioned there, Mace, like, Newcastle Olympic and Cardiff. So Newcastle Olympic for me, I would have said at the beginning of the year, top 4. So things haven't worked. They've had that flat period you were talking about, Gaz, and then Cardiff, I got to watch them play, almost 2 weeks ago now. And these guys were, you could see it, they had it in them. It was a pretty shitty day, to be honest. It was really boggy. It was wet, slippery, cold. There was hail going on in other parts. We didn't get any. But, it was all, it just didn't work for them. And a Swansea side that were very enthusiastic and just didn't let them go.
And underrated Swansea.
Underrated, so well coached.
Just haven't really had the consistency to get themselves inside the 5. But, another team that's probably got a couple of games in hand. And with that result for New University, they'd probably still see themselves a chance as well. Yeah, so there's another one.
Yeah. So, there's those teams for me that have still got a real good show of getting
and Cardiff, we know quite a few of their boys, so we've all have been picking them on a regular basis, but it's just their consistency this year. Just they've had some good little runs, and then they have a loss, and the Swansea one's a big loss for them. It just threw them back into that little pack. But they'll be still sitting there, and if they get in, players like Adam Reid and
Alex
Reid, Adam's brother Alex.
For sure. And in the middle of the park, for them as well, their captain, they've got all the makings, and their keeper's a good one, and it just seemed to me it just didn't click, and maybe that's happened a few times for them this year where it just didn't click, because they've definitely got a side that
if they get in, they're a real chance.
And there was a real buzz about them too, in the warm-up they were really good, but I've got to say, in the Swansea dressing sheds before their game, you can get a feel for it. Before Swansea were buzzing, the coach wasn't even in there, and they were just you can just tell it was going to be a good day for them. But anyway, lots of fun to come.
Exactly. Moving on now to Zone League 2. Speaking about final spots, Cooks Hill getting a 4-0 win over New Lambton, bumping themselves from 5th to 4th, still with 3 games in hand as well. But don't let that be misleading. Most of Zone League 2 does have 2 to 3 games in hand. Minmai with a 2-2 draw over Nelson Bay. Minmai with that result dropping to 7th and Nelson Bay 8th, so pretty tight clash there. And Lambton Jaffers with a 6-0 thumping over Merewether Advance, getting that jump from 7th to 6th, with Merewether Advance staying in 10th there. Interesting results across those 3. We'll start at the top of our page with the 2-2 draw with Minmai and Nelson Bay. Obviously both very close on the ladder, so a 2-2 draw probably reasonable result there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's reasonable for us to think that that's a good result, but both sides would be disappointed for sure. I think they both knew that they would have needed the 3 points. Obviously they get a point and they both stay in it, but it's an opportunity miss from both sides, and Minmai especially, because they've been on a nice little roll over a long period. I think that might. It's just put a little roadblock on for both of them. I think they'll be both ruining their chances. But like you said, 3 games in hand each. It's going to be whoever can handle the workload.
You kind of
some peptides or something will be coming in.
Yeah, I know, but you kind
of
of get the feeling with those sort of sides. It's like, when you go back to the sponsor's place after the game, you could go into one and then go into the other, and it's going to be the same thing. Oh, if we've done that and they've done that, and I just got a foot in there. That wouldn't have, that was a game changer. Like you're right.
Yeah.
Both teams would be sort of licking their wounds on what they could have happened and didn't.
But it's just keeps them in it, and keeps you. If either side were to win the 3 games, you'd have to think plus the game's still to go. Points on the board, like we spoke about last week, is very important. But if you're able to do it, well, you're going to be in the semis. Like 15 points at this time of year, or 12 points at this time of year. That's got to get either of them into the semis, surely. Yeah.
So then, just to take a step back here, both of you having coaching experience, these teams sitting just outside those final spots, but still with a chance to make it in then. 4 games over the next 2 weeks to be played. How do you run your squad here? Do you try and still put out your best 11 in first grade for all 4 games? Do you try rotate, maybe sacrifice the Resi's results, but keep an overall fit squad? Or what would your thoughts be there if you were running these teams?
Yeah, well,
we're probably going to have similar.
Very similar. I mean, the bulk of the squad or the depth of the squad is the important thing. How many fit players you've got, who's working, who can get to these games. So it'll almost sort itself out when it comes to the rotation, I think, at this time of the year. I couldn't imagine, other than the younger players in the group, that they could all handle 4 games in 2 weeks. There's no way I would have been able to do it. And I think that would be a tough ask even at the higher level in Newcastle. So they've got their... As a coach, you've got your work cut out. I think whatever game's in front of you, you're going to try and put out the best side. That's the most important one. The 4th one's not important. The first one, tick that one off, and then you see who pulls up. Well, they're all going to want to keep playing. Do some recovery. I don't know.
This is where you got to know your players really well, and you got to know every niggle. You've got to know every potential injury, whether it's happened or not, or what they're already carrying. And then you got to see, all right, by this time of the year, you got to know your opposition, what they're going to come out with and what, so you are then starting to play a little bit of chess with your team and work out who's going to be in what spot to get your best result. And as you say, Gaz, it's about getting your best team out there on the park, given what you've got available, and then knowing, he's going to be out for another week and a half, so we're going to save him for 2 and make sure he's ready there for that second game. And then, I'm going to bring this young player in because I know when he gets on, he's going to be buzzing and he'll have the game of his life. So you give him that chance. They're the types of things that start. It's not that you're in damage control. It's all about your management of your team and knowing. And I think the really important part is knowing your opposition.
The opposition.
And knowing your team.
It could be that you're playing the team coming first and you might go, well, hold on. Yeah. In 3 days' time, we're playing a team that's a 6-point game. Maybe I'm not saying throw off, but we might go, okay, we're going to rest you for this one. If we can get a draw out of that game, that's great. But we're picking off. We want 9. 10 points might get you in, so maybe 3 wins and a draw. So they might go, well, let's go after the 6-pointer because that might get rid of a team that's right close to you. So all of that will come into play for all of the teams in and around there that have got massive games in hand. So the coach has got a massive role in the way he prepares. It's really good.
You know yourself
really
on the sideline.
Very good question.
Yeah, it is. And you know yourself on the sideline. It could be midway through the second half of the season. Yeah. Players going down, you can see he's got a limp and you're already manufacturing what's going on with their team and how they're and what adjustments you're going to make, if field positions, player changes. You're constantly thinking, it's
the
like
score line, you might be up 3-0, you might be down 3-0 and you might take your players off.
Your mind's a calculator at that point, isn't it?
No, there's a hell of a lot going to be happening.
Because I think also coaching at this level almost is almost harder than, say, coaching A-League level, Premier League level and all that, because you touched on as well, people have got work, they've got holidays. It's not the professional
family
league
stuff. There's so much stuff going on.
Maybe boys, I know I'm not too great for it, but not really doing recovery. So
Yeah.
you just grinding your body and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that
almost,
guy's a banker, that guy's a bricklayer.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it all adds
exactly. So it's almost, I would say, harder to manage at this level with players and everything like that. But yeah, especially in that bracket there and that between all three divisions, just outside that top 5 for the rest of these weeks to come then, and then straight into the finals. Maybe not so much problem looking now for at Cooks Hill. Obviously, when they coming up against New Lambton in 11th, they might already be resting some players and comfortably got that 4-0 win.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've nailed it. It's just like the fact that they've had a win, that will change the direction that the coach might be thinking. I think it's the main thing is, though, it's a game by game situation, and I always say they've won a player. In the end, they'd probably prefer to play during the week than train. So they probably get up for the game, and it's going to be interesting. But just if you can get a win, there's 3 points. Worry about that one, and if we can get the next one in, there's 6 points.
Yeah.
Just put every game on its merits.
Yeah. And then finally, what do you got the giggles about?
Oh, I just can't get past the opening curtains bit. I'm looking across at the male model, and I feel like your curtains are open. Mine are kind of 3/4 or something. I'm just feeling a little bit intimidated right now.
Finally wrapping out the weekend review with Zone League 3. Curry with the bye. Lucky them not having to make up a game there. But the one game did get played. Pardon me, Madawi versus Southern Lakes. Big game for both of these teams. Yeah. Madawi in 3rd, but tied points with Merewether in 4th. I think we touched on last week. And Southern Lakes only just behind in 5th. Madawi winning this one 4-1. So definitely Madawi needing those points to keep their position. But Southern Lakes obviously would be disappointed as that gap now between them and Madawi. Merewether getting postponed, but once they make that game up, that gap as well gets a bit bigger for Southern.
But it's tough for Southern. It's tough for Merewether as well, because Madawi have got the points on the board, and that's what it's about at this time of the year. I've been impressed with Madawi from the time I watched them. They keep on, I think predicted their win again. I must have just nailed you last week in the tips. But I think Madawi are going to be a real dark horse in the semi-final series. They've got some good old-fashioned players. Dennis, Fadge, holds them all together. But they've just got some really good players. The 2 boys up top scoring goals for fun. I'm going to go out on a limb. Madawi are going to win the grand final.
Out on a limb. There we go.
Wow,
not only just make the top 3. I think they're going to just surprise the top 2.
Yeah, well, current would-be premiers Greeter have been beaten by Curry in 2nd and Merewether as well. So it's probably not the craziest thing to say that on their day, Madawi definitely could put it on them, or put it on any team really in a grand final. But yeah, Southern also slipping maybe just with results. If I think Barnsley and Charlestown are just below them, if they get some results now, they might sneak into that top 5. So a bit worrying for them.
I'm not leaving Merewether out of there either. They've got a few games in hand.
Yeah.
You talk so much about Merewether that we're almost obliged to mention them as well. But
right,
I mean, and I've seen Merewether play a few times, but I thought Madawi just done some real damage up there. So that, I guess, looking back to that game, because there's a fair chance you guys may meet in the semi-finals. That's something that always comes into play. The last game you played against each other, it's a mental situation as well. So
it's one apiece between Merewether and Madawi at the moment. So that 3rd game, if we do meet in the finals, the tiebreaker, which will be definitely interesting there.
I'm assuming it'll be the match of the round, I guess, that week.
Always.
Oh, I'm guessing so. If not, I'm sure we'll see highlights of the first round, and the goal that was scored.
Yeah, it seems so long ago, that goal.
In case you missed it,
Very
Mason
long
Villa
ago,
Just the one
tap
goal
in.
this year. That one, is it? Or?
No,
I
think I've scored 3 others.
Yeah, round 1, Mason Villa tap in.
Yeah.
Just wanted to take a minute to thank all of our great sponsors of the Zone In podcast. We have Deploy Football, the leading developers and manufacturers of performance sporting solutions, not only just including our awesome balls, and also sportswear with all of our grassroots clubs in helping them design and produce amazing apparel. One of our other major sponsors, Solved Marketing. If you want your problems solved are the ones to go with. Helping businesses, brands solve complex challenges with ingenuity and creative solutions. Solved Marketing is our go-to agency for all of our marketing needs, and we cannot recommend them enough. And finally, Harry Schnitzel Joint. You guys know every week Man of the Match is presented with the Harry Schnitzel Award. Definitely go check Harry Schnitzel out. And we know that all the Man of the Match recipients have been so excited to get their Harry Schnitzel Man of the Match Award and get down to Harry Schnitzel.
Looking now, we spoke about premiers a bit so far. In Zone 1, Croatia, they're 1 win away from sealing premiership. Obviously didn't get on the weekend against Westlake, so that lift of the plaque will be delayed, but they do, as of recording this, on Monday the 25th, they do play tomorrow night against Swansea at Jack McLaughlin Oval. So that result there, 3 points from that, could seal them the premiership. If not, they then play at Uni on Saturday, which could be their premiership game.
Yeah, well, they'll be wanting to, they would have been looking forward to, beating Westlakes on the weekend. I'm not saying that was a give me. Westlakes' results have been reasonably good over the last month. But I think they would have fancied themselves to wrap it up, probably at home. But, yeah, they get to play at Jack McLaughlin tomorrow. It'll be looking pretty good. I'll be out there because my young team are training before them, so I'll let you know how it's all going. I don't know, if Swansea is still a chance to make the semis, they're going to make it very difficult to try and spoil the party for Croatia tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely, CT.
Yeah, look, I'm always nervous about these midweek games that are late in the season because, under lights, it's just the motivation. You've been at work all day. Sometimes you get that edge off, just making the difference between a comfortable win and a scrap. And when it's a scrap, then, things don't go your way. Then it makes it, but that, if a premiership is not enough incentive, on the night, then nothing is.
So right. Yeah.
So it should be a great game. Yeah, keep us informed. Looking forward to it.
And the flip side of it is Swansea, they need to win as well. So it makes for a really interesting fixture. I think Croatia will be, like you said, you're playing for a premiership. Yeah. They've got it all to play for. But it's going to be interesting if Swansea gets something early and they start to think about, we might have to do this on the weekend. And so, it's a hard one to know who to tip there, really. You'd think Croatia should just get home.
You'd have to tip Croatia.
Yeah, I think the other thing you'd be worried about is how late the edgy bolo next door is open till, because if they do win it, I'm sure they'll be straight across the road there.
Yeah, they might go up to Harrigan's. The bolo, I don't think will be open that late at night. It's not many get in there.
Yeah, plenty of people your age there, Gaz, and they go home to bed at 8 o'clock.
That's why I looked over there. I knew he'd know the answers.
I don't know, unless there's a few playing the pokies or something.
It's a chance.
Looking then to Zone League 2, of which Crowders Bay have now been crowned premiers. Well done to Crowders Bay. On last Friday night at the synthetic fields, beating South Maitland 6-1 in that game to be crowned premiers. Friday night, definitely a better time to win a premiership, and I believe maybe I've heard on the grapevine the partying continued up until maybe early hours of this morning. So,
well, we saw Wayne Bailey at the Craig Johnston function.
And Pete Bailey.
Pete and
Yep.
Steve and
Steve was there. Yeah, that's right.
there's none of the boys I saw there, but yeah, apparently they were partying very hard. One absentee was Daniel McBreen. He probably would have been home in bed, and that was a really nice thing to hear that he didn't score in those 6 goals as well. But he'll be itching in the semi-final series.
I heard he
You
was.
spoke earlier about Daniel's ego, so
Yeah, I know, but
I didn't call.
I'll stroke it a bit. I heard, like, and this was after a few lemonades that someone was having, that he was involved in everything. His touch was on everything. He
Was that from Daniel? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to watching Crowders Bay in the semi-final series for that reason, just to see how our Super Daniel is going to fare and how some of the coaches are going to try and look after it. Stop him, I guess.
I'm looking forward to, you get typically into September and the sun's out and we've had such a crappy year, with weather and whatever, and just having some sun, having the fans come out, and really showing off their clubs and just getting behind them.
It's a good time of the year.
Yeah, can't wait.
Football.
And for us to be able to be there is such a privilege.
And we're going to be right in amongst it.
For sure.
And, well, hopefully Merryweather are in there as well. It'll be... and you can get your hair permed again, and you get all that Botox and all that other stuff you get done. Instagram player.
Speaking of Mick Breen, obviously they've won the premiership now, but they'll be looking to get the grand final as well. You'd have to think that part of the reason bringing Mick Breen in would be for these big games, the final series and all that. So obviously you hope he did have a couple weeks out with a bit of an injury, so you'd hope that he'll be fit for the whole series, and maybe Wayne is cautious of that for the next few games, because they are one of the teams that do still have 4 games to play, but they would also be thinking surely to try and go undefeated as well for these last games. Not actually, they've won, all 18 of their games. It's not any draws or anything. So still big things. Can't just, season's not done now just because they've got the premiership. Yeah,
I mean, that's terrific logic, but I think it'll all depend on Daniel's contract. If he's getting paid per game or if he's getting paid weekly, it won't matter if he's injured. He will want to play. So it's everything is logical with what you just said, but that all goes out the window for one of Daniel McBreen's contracts.
Also, does he carry his own pen around to sign autographs? Or?
I'm sure he would.
Yeah,
I'm sure he would.
Especially in this final series.
I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see how he has his hair, and I like everything about Daniel, so I'm looking forward to it.
You got a jersey you want him to sign or anything?
No, we'll see. Let's see how he performs first.
Yeah.
Let's not put him on a pedestal yet. He could do his Hemi in the first 5 minutes or something.
Going to move on to a more sensible conversation. Just like we've spoken about players lots through the year, but just not because of results and not because of whatever, but a potential coach nomination of, coach of the year, just a potential throwing it out there, because I've loved it every time I've seen him as Steve Frame from Swansea. The way he gets his team up and together, and the way he gets the whole club behind the team. I love it. I think these guys have just done such a fantastic job, and him in particular being such a good figurehead for the club. So I want to give him a quick rap, because it's like, I don't know him very well, but every time I've spoken to him or seen him and you speak to the players about him, and, they love him and everything that's going on at the club. They're so proud of it. And,
and how does that, is the awards, did you get an invite?
No, I haven't yet.
You might have not have. You might have been on mine. I don't know.
Yeah, you're +1.
+1, yeah. Plus, yeah. Hey,
no, I did.
Yeah, that's good. We're going together.
What are you?
Or, yeah, no. We're going. Am I going together?
Yeah, I think so.
Why not?
Yeah. Well.
How will it? Not to give too much away, but is there a coach for each league, or is it one? Are there one? Is it player of the leagues or
no? So most of the awards are separated for each division, just to create fairness and stuff. But yeah, you make a good point on that topic. if you guys were to solely choose a coach of the year yourselves, what would your personal criteria be of trying to identify? Because obviously you've got Wayne.
You've
got Wayne Bailey, who's taken this Crabs team all this way through the Australia Cup in this and everything. You touched on Swansea's coach, just getting them riled up. The coach of Greta, on coming in from outside, getting it all going, and they're on a stellar season as well. What would is it all about winning? Is it about culture? Is it about their experience, the growth of the team? What would you guys say?
It's a combination of. I think, you look at the coach in the years and they haven't come in last spot. That's just it is. Yeah. But you look at a team that has expected to finish midway and they've made their way into the semis. That might happen. You see a team that's won the premiership, that's more likely to happen. But I think to be fair, if you're going to have a team that's not finished in the first couple of spots, to have a coach of the year in there, someone from the middle sort of section, typically that's really a noticeable difference. And that's why I pointed out Steve Frame, because you can see the difference. You've only got to walk into the field and you can feel it. That the whole group is close and they're tight, and he's the one that's pulling it together. So, that criteria for me is looking like results, but it's looking like who the team is, how the whole club goes as well, not just the first grade side. So the depth of the group, and also a whole range of things, the volunteers. The way the grounds are kept, the dressing room, everything kind of comes into, as a coach.
Your back staff room and all
you're
that.
Everything,
really
your mum, your dad, your brother.
The coaches these
days.
The
volunteer,
You're controlling a lot of what's going on inside the club.
Yeah.
So, I agree with CT. I think distinct improvement is a massive thing. And I know in the higher leagues, unless you're finishing in the top few, it's very rare that someone is. I think obviously what Wayne's done, if you were to look at it in that sense, he's had a really nice run in the cup. They're undefeated. They're a newish club and they're getting going. So that criteria fits that. But definitely the criteria based on improvement, but also improvement on the whole club, how they're working towards and promotion and stuff like that. So it's a really good talking point. Even if it's not an award, I think that's a good talking point, and that I guess would be the same for Player of the Year over the whole 3 leagues as well. When you consider, assists and what one player may have done for a team that has been lowly and then gone into a really good run through semis. So, they're good talking points more than anything at this stage. But
for you guys making those decisions.
Yeah.
Well,
it's worth a topic at the Monday morning meeting or whenever you have them to bring it up and have that. We should be a criteria that we include, and I think
when it's not this year, maybe the next
when
year,
a coach puts in so much, like they all do, so much time and energy, it's good to recognise that.
Yeah. And again, look, you can easily just pick the top teams like Pops at Croatia. He's got them promoted to Zone League 1, and now bang, he's about to get them promoted again. So
it's like a Wrexham type situation, isn't it?
Yeah. So definitely a few in the running. And it will be interesting to find out on the awards night who does get awarded those.
And even brown paper bags that may have been passed on to say from Steve Frame to Chris Turner as well.
I was going to say, I
that
haven't.
does
the
come in
pockets
handy.
are still bulging.
I was going to say, my pockets haven't got
really
any bigger.
does.
Actually, you would have missed
the type of thing that does come in handy.
You would have missed the player, the Man of the Match award, picked by Cameron, the Harry Schnitzel Man of the Match award. I put it in a paper bag, and there's a couple of extra foldies in there for you. He had no idea what I was talking about, just in the wrong era.
Cameron wouldn't. Yeah, he's straight down the line, Cam. I love his commentary.
Well, speaking of Cameron as well, between the 3 of us, Cameron, Gareth, and a few others, we will be getting together over the next 2-3 weeks, and between the group of us, we will put forward our personal nominations for those awards as coaches, player of the season.
Of each division.
And team of the years as well we're doing for each division as well. So, it won't just be a me decision or a Chris Brain decision or anything. It'll be a big group thing, which I think, and if whoever does then get those awards should be very proud and very happy.
Yeah, look, that's another thing we can all look forward to. Big black tie, you look good in that, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course, I could look good in most things. Yeah. But moving on to lastly, looking at the premiership run for Zone 3 Greater. 2 games left to play with, missing out on the weekend against Barnsley. Then this coming weekend against Rutherford at Norm Chapman. If my maths is correct, they just need one more win and or Curry to drop points in the next couple games for them to be crowned champions before the end of the season. Just obviously doing well, doing great to have played all their games up to now, but still Curry on their tail, very, very close. So this could come down to the wire in Zone 3. Yeah,
they've been at each other all year, haven't they, really? I expect Greta to take care of Rutherford, though, this time of the year, especially if they've got most of their games sorted and they're just concentrating on that one. Although it's away from home, I think they're just going to have done enough. Curry beat them mid-season, you would have thought. But then, Greta, they just kind of held their nerve after that. And, it'd have to take something pretty spectacular for Curry to win it from here. But it has happened before.
Definitely. That's all from us, I think, for tonight's episode. Definitely, good to have you guys back on, the three of us together. As we say over and over again, definitely tune in on Saturday. Or better yet, go down to the games, support them, enjoy football being back. So
lots to look forward to over the next month.
100%. All right, that's all from us. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
This is the Zone Football League.